This is a product page for a new product from Descript called Underlord, and it's full of great copywriting lessons for anyone who wants to put out engaging product pages. If you like studying examples of good copy, you're going to want to bookmark this page. But before you do that, keep watching because I'm going to show you what to look for, why I think this page works so well, and how you can apply some of the techniques at work to your own pages. Okay, so first of all, Descript is an editing platform for video and podcast content. I should say that I'm a big fan of Descript and have been a paying customer for over a year now. I use it to edit podcasts, video content. In fact, I'm recording this very video into Descript right now. It's how I can snap my fingers and suddenly we're soaring through the skies of Barcelona and admiring the Sagrada Familia. But why do that when we can study beautiful marketing copy instead? Okay, so Underlord. This is a new product from Descript that is basically bundling together a bunch of AI-driven features, some of which have been in the app for some time now. One of the reasons this is interesting is that so many software products are having to figure out how to market AI to a broad audience right now. I first talked about this in a post last year analyzing how GitHub was marketing Copilot, but Underlord from Descript is even more interesting to me because instead of marketing to an audience of developers and very kind of tech-centric people who might be more inclined to be open to AI, they're marketing largely to a very different type of customer. Content creators. And at the risk of overgeneralizing, I think we can all agree that creatives tend to be pretty wary of AI or even hostile toward it, and often for good reason. So how do you overcome that? Descript has done it in 3 ways on this page: positioning, tone, and believability. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the overall positioning by looking at the headline and supporting copy here in the hero section. Meet Underlord. Nobody wants an AI overlord, but everybody could use an AI underlord. An editing assistant that can do all the tedious stuff but leaves you in control. Then a little bit further down, we have a big featured headline here: let your creativity flow and make AI do the rest. So this does a couple things right off the bat. Number one, it makes it clear that Underlord is not here to be creative. That's the very real justifiable fear that creators have about AI, right? It's going to be used to replace them, even if the end result isn't ultimately as good as human created content. That said, it's tougher than you think to say, this product is here to help you, but don't worry, it's not going to take your job. And I think Descript pulls this off in a really interesting way, basically by just not taking itself too seriously. So it starts with juxtaposing this very dramatic idea of an AI overlord with a play on words that might be a little eye-rolly to some, but I think ultimately does a good job kind of recentering the conversation around pain points that are much lower stakes. Number 2, it's specific. So right here, it comes out and just clearly defines exactly what it is: an editing assistant. It's so easy to overcomplicate what an AI product is, or to be so vague that nobody knows what it is other than it's AI for X. And again, notice it's an editing assistant, not a creative assistant, not a junior writer, not a script writing partner. It's here to help with editing, the tedious part. Now, let's talk more about tone. We've covered that they've established this tone of not taking themselves too seriously at the top. One thing I've found as a copywriter is that it's easy to get a playful line or two in here and there. It's much harder to do it consistently throughout a whole page without it becoming annoying overkill. And yet, if you go through this page section by section, I think you'll find Descript really nailed the balance with this page. So here are a few of my favorite parts. So here we have the draft a title section. It says, writing a title for a video or podcast episode can be hard, which is sort of surprising and maddening. Keep madness at bay by letting Underlord write a title based on your content. So on top of the playful tone here, I think this shows without question that they really know their customers. I related super hard to this as someone who has had to title hundreds of podcast episodes at this point. Yes, you can be creative with it, but after you're done going through all that work, you just kind of want to be done, and it's such a hassle to think of yet another title. So this really resonated with me. Draft a social post. Do you enjoy writing social media posts that will cause someone to stop mindlessly scrolling and watch or listen to your content? Neither does anybody. Underlord doesn't mind though, and it can do it fast. So the tone is there again, but the substance is also important. This is a real pain point, and it's another one of those tasks that a lot of creators don't want to do. It does require some creativity, but it doesn't feel creative to think, how can I get people to click on this? For a lot of people, it actually kind of feels icky. This copy speaks to that feeling really well. Then we have look good. With Underlord at your side, you can stop worrying about annoying concepts like composition, chroma key, and cleaning your room. So we can see this as clever, but the important thing is I don't think it's just clever for the sake of being clever. It's well-placed humor, but it speaks to a pain point and benefit in an original way that I think will really stand out for more straightforward approaches from competitors. All right, so let's talk about the last quality I mentioned. Believability. With something as hyped as AI, this is very important, especially when you factor in the audience here. People need to believe Underlord will move the needle in a meaningful way, but if you promise them the world, BS detectors are going to go off. So, they start by making simple, straightforward, very non-hypey promises to structure the page around. Sound good? Look good. In the sound good section, it says Underlord's got a toolbox full of AI gadgets that make obvious edits and fix lousy audio, so you sound smarter and better than in real life. So they're not making enormous promises like cut your editing time in half or edit at 10x speed or something like that. Then below, they show you what that looks like, removing filler words and verbal clutter, and then they point out the time savings with the part that says, so you get to a clean cut in moments, not hours. So again, they're promising cleanup duty, not automating big editorial decisions that require creativity. It's the grunt work. They even poke a bit of fun at overpromising in the remove filler words tab with this line. Underlord doesn't make you smarter, but it makes you sound that way. Great stuff. They continue this dynamic in the look good section, but I want to skip ahead to the repurpose and share section to highlight a particularly good example of believability. So look at the first line here. Underlord's AI knows what goes viral. Okay, right off the bat, this sounds somewhat unbelievable. It's like a hair away from saying this will automatically make you go viral, which would really set off the BS detector. But then they flip this on its head with the parentheses here, to the extent that anybody knows. So with this, they basically just like cast doubt on the entire enterprise of viral marketing. Yeah, it's basically like throwing darts and anyone who claims to be an expert is lying. Obviously, they're not going that far, but that's the vibe I feel like they're giving off here. And my guess is that resonates with their customers. Again, this goes back to knowing their customers. My hunch is that Descript hears this kind of stuff over and over from users and are confident that a large portion of them do not want to have to make content for social, but recognize the benefit to their content of doing so. All right, there's a bunch of more great little nuggets sprinkled through this page, but most of them feed back into the three key things I mentioned earlier: effective positioning, distinctive tone, and refreshing believability. That's what I believe this page does really well and makes it worth studying. But I'd love to know what stands out about it to you, so leave a comment or reply below and let me know.